Okay, this one is about Postal 3-cent mail. It's a follow-up on other ones that I've done. First of all, I'm not a liar. Well, I meant a lawyer. You should never take my words. Now, I meant a liar. You should never take my word for anything. You should always do your own research. I provided references to aid you in your research, but I don't know everything, and I'm open to any ideas. There's four types of people you'll meet in your life. There's the people who try to wake up the slaves. There's the slave masters, and there's the people who have no idea they're slaves. And there's the people who like being slaves. Which one are you? Do you really know for sure? Are you who you think you are? If you can see through the illusion, then you are the solution. If the people don't know their basic rights and freedoms, how can they know when or if their rights and freedoms are being infringed? Never forget the men who started this country were marijuana growing, whiskey drinking, tax evading rebels who left their beds at night to shoot at the pigs. George Washington was a hemp farmer. All tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent. I don't trust the government. I don't trust the medical, pharmaceutical, industrial complex. I don't trust the military industrial complex. I don't trust the mainstream media. I don't trust the bankster criminal cabal that owns the government, owns the medical, pharmaceutical, industrial complex, owns the military industrial complex, and owns the mainstream media. If you call me a conspiracy theorist, then I don't trust you. Government's not reason, it's not eloquence, it is force. Like fire, it's a dangerous servant and a fearful master. If a nation expects to be ignorant and free in a state of civilization, it expects what never was and never will be. I've sent out dozens of certified letters, and more than 150, quite frankly. The large majority of them tracked to delivery. Some of them did not track. On one certified letter, I forgot to remove the green address portion of the barcode, and the post office returned it to me with the green card in an envelope addressed perfectly. I've sent out several registered letters. They start tracking immediately and were delivered. I sent 2 packages to Canada, and they arrived no problem. So that's a foreign country. There's the post office sent a green card back in this envelope right here. General Post Office, zip code exempt, 6340 Lake Worth Boulevard, Fort Worth, Texas, RFD 76135. They addressed it perfectly. If you have to ask a government employee if something applies you, you've demonstrated that you're not competent. There's no such thing as an incompetent state citizen. You have to know this. You have to be able to defend it. If you have to ask if something applies you, then it does. You have to know the law. You have to live the law. You have to be the king. This is a priority mail envelope that I got. And it was in Austin, sent in Austin to another address in Austin. And notice it says up there where the arrow is, postage paid, tax per queue, USPS International Mail Manual. And so I got it no problem. It's amazing how it works. I got the important parts of this from abodia.com. And obodia.com.mail from Ted. Actually, T is Ted. I've talked with the owner of that website about this process extensively. I've put some of his, I've interviewed him on my Northeast Private Information share several times. They hold a conference call every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern, and contact is t@abodia.com, and you can find out when the conference call is. There's 2 postal entities. There's the United States Post Office and there's the United States Postal Service. Postal Service was set up in the 70s. And so you have to understand that. The Post Office was established on the 26th of July, 1775. That's before the Declaration of Independence. Has never been bankrupt. There's Articles of Confederation were passed by Congress in 1777 and ratified in 1781. The Constitution was ratified in 1787. Post Office handles the post. The Postal Service was established on the 12th of August, 1970. Zip code started by Proclamation 3746, September 20th, 1966 by President Johnson. All employees are U.S. citizens. It's for the District of Columbia and the Territories, and it handles the mail. You have to understand But then you also have to be able to explain it. And I'm going to have a short video at the end of this that I'll add to the end of this, where I actually went to a post office because they were returning a bunch of my mail, and I kind of railed on them about the felonies they were committing, and they took my mail no problem. I've got exclusive content available on my website and on Patreon. My website has 2 subscription levels. I accept cryptocurrencies. My basic subscription level is $29.99 a year for the videos only. My advanced subscription level is $49.99 a year for the videos plus unlimited email consultations. But I'm not a liar. Well, I meant an attorney. No, I meant a liar. But I can tell you what I would do under certain circumstances and where to find the forms. The only power that these New World Order Satanists have over us is through fraud and deception, and my agenda is to expose it for all our benefit. I cannot fight all the battles. I need other people being on point. Some of my exclusive content is in Arlington Private Information Share, Land Deed Training. There's about 3 videos there. Estoppel Certificates Training, Foreclosure Estoppel Certificates Training. That one is, foreclosures, you're dealing with the bankster thieves. It's very, very difficult. People have approached me recently about foreclosures, and I went through a foreclosure in 2007. They stole my house. Don't get me going about the bankster thieves. So that's very difficult. I mean, you're just doing the best you can. The first thing I would do, quite frankly, is bar grieve all the lawyers involved. Whether they're working for you or against you. I don't care who they are, or whether they're on the bench. I'd bar grieve them too and file judicial complaints. Corporate denial training, toll roads notice and demand training, invoice training, notice of void judgment training, revocation of signature training, third-party witness training, federal habeas corpus training, revocation of voter registration training, criminal complaint training. There's about 3 videos of that. Lawsuit training. There's 1 video of that. There'll probably be more. Other training, I'm open to ideas on training, but it has to be something that I haven't already done, and it has to be something that I'm prepared to do. In other words, I don't do anything to do with the birth certificate, getting things authenticated, none of that stuff. That goes into international law. The sole focus of my what I'm trying to do is help people take themselves out of international law, and where you become the king. And if you go into international law, you are not king. You lose you become a slave. Look up Clearfield Doctrine if you have any doubt about that. Anyway, some other exclusive content is the Northeast Private Information Share videos. All forms, files, and other instructions are available for free, linked on my videos and on my website. All exclusive content will be on my website, and you can buy a subscription there. And my Patreon is Sovereignty International. Anyway, so the War of 1812 was initiated by the Crown to eliminate the true Article 13 Amendment. Okay, so this is all about bar members. And the reason I'm going through this video is because, when you go to the postal clerk, and they presume that you're a government employee or a corporation. The postage that they're charging you is for government employees and corporations. And bar members have set this all up, okay? And think about it. If you're involved in some sort of court case where some bar member has assaulted you with something, and then you got this other bar member on the bench, and you're sending a mail that's got postage on it identifying government employees, do you think maybe that helps them say, oh, this must be a government employee? You think? Maybe? Hello? One of the major engagements was when the British burned the Capitol and the National Archives. The National Archives would have been where the ratification records would have been kept, and so it kind of helped them facilitate the disappearance of the true Article 13 Amendment. All bar members have a title of nobility. This is all coming from these bar member scum. I can tell you everything that is going on is coming from these bar member scum. All bar members have a special privilege or honor from a foreign power. They're all foreign agents of the Roman cult is what they are. All bar members have an emolument from a foreign power. Persons, titles are distinction by which a person is known. The Constitution of the United States forbids the tyrant by the United States or any state of any title of nobility. Titles are bestowed by courtesy on certain officers. The President of the United States sometimes receives the title of Excellency. Judges and members of Congress that are honorable, they call themselves honorable. Okay, those are all titles. Members of the bar and justices of the peace are called esquires. Even when they put Mr. in front of your name, that's a title, folks. Honorable, this is the title formally given to the degree by a fellowcraft. Emolument, this is all coming from the Masons, folks, which is controlled and governed by the Roman cult. Emolument, the law, a lawful gain or profit that arises from an office. Perjury, this is taken from the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, 1966 edition. Perjury in municipal law, perjury is defined to be willful false swearing to a material matter when the oath has been administered by lawful authority, the violation of vows or promissory notes taken before one who is not legally authorized to administer them, that is to say, one who is not a magistrate, does not involve the crime of perjury. So these Masons just come up with all sorts of ways why they can sit there and lie and get away with it. Such is the technical definition of the law, but the moral sense of mankind does not assent to such a doctrine and considers perjury as the root of the word indicates the doing of that which one has sworn not to do, or the omitting to do that which he has sworn to do. The old Romans seem to have taken a sensible view of the crime of perjury. Among them, oaths were not often administered, and in general a promise made under oath had no more binding power in a court of justice than it would had without the oath. False swearing was with them a matter of conscience, and the person who was guilty of it was responsible to the deity alone. Yeah, right. So they can sit there and lie all they want. Bear false witness, okay? That's one of the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not bear false witness. They're Satanists, okay, folks? You get that? They're Satanists. Whenever you see any of our signs made by a brother Mason, especially the grand hailing sign of distress, you must always be sure to obey them, even at the risk of your life. If you're on a jury and the defendant is a Mason and makes the grand hailing sign, you must obey it. You must disagree with your brother jurors if necessary, but you must be sure not to bring the Mason guilty, for that would bring disgrace upon our order. You must conceal all crimes of your brother Masons except murder and treason, and these are your own options. In other words, they can go ahead and commit murder and treason all they want. And should you be summoned as a witness against a brother Mason, be always sure to shield him, prevaricate, don't tell the truth in this case, keep his secrets, forget the important points. It may be perjury to do this, true, but you are keeping your obligations. Masonic Handbook, page 183. Esquire, a title applied by courtesy to officers of almost every description, to members of the bar and others. All these bar members are Masons, okay? Not all of them, but most of them. Certainly most of them. I would suspect that all of them are. I have no proof. But certainly this is all coming from the Roman cult. In England, it's a title next above that of a gentleman and below a knight. In 1850, the 81st Congress, 1950, in 1950, the 81st Congress investigated the Lawyers Guild and determined that the Bar Association, by definition, is founded and run by communists, okay? Well, communists are Satanists, okay? They're thieves, they're murderers. They'll do anything to obtain their objectives. They want to steal all your property. That means they're thieves. That means they're Satanists too, because God gave us the right to have property in the 10 Commandments. Thus, any elected official that is a member of the bar will only be loyal to the bar entity and never have allegiance to the people. All bar members have renounced their U.S. citizenship as contemplated by the Founding Fathers. Pursuant to the true Article 13 of the Amendment, bar members are here to enforce the martial law. Bar members are in a territorial jurisdiction. It's all territorial. Bar members represent you in court. Think about it. They make legal determinations for you, and I don't care whether it's the prosecutor or if you have a liar representing you, they're representing you, okay? The judge is representing you. He's making legal determinations for you. And so they're Satanists, okay? They're representing you, and they're without authority. If you hire an attorney, you're saying you're not competent. If you're hiring an attorney, you're making yourself a ward of the court. If you hire an attorney, you're saying you're an imbecile. The right to be represented exists only in a military court. This is Title 10, United States Code, Section 838. The accused has the right to be represented in his defense before a general or special court-martial or at an investigation under Section 832 of this title. My blog is sovereigntyinternational.wordpress.com. My website is sovereigntyinternational.fyi. My email address is engineerwin@yahoo.com. My YouTube profile, Sovereign Living. My Facebook community page, I deleted it. My Facebook private group called Sovereignty International is being deleted. Actually, Facebook is a has-been. I haven't been there in months, and I have no interest in going there. And I got other people there that are managing all of that. My private group at freelist.org is called Administrating-Your-Public-Servants. My Google private group is called Administrating-Your-Public-Servants. Yahoo deleted all their private groups, and so there is no private group at Yahoo anymore. Follow me on Steemit at Sovereignty International. I got a library profile. I also am on Patreon, and I've got a MeWe group. The code is prima facie evidence of the laws of the United States where an inconsistency between the United States Code and the statutes at large appeared. The statutes at large prevail over the code. Now, in this video, you're going to see me going in there telling them about their regulations, okay, and about the last statute regarding the post office was in 1868 or 1863. I think it's 1863. That's 12 Stat 705. And so I'll have it there, and I'll be reading it to them. It's well settled that the code cannot prevail over the statutes at large when the two are inconsistent. The provisions of the code are merely prima facie evidence of the law. A code is the interpretation of the statutes at law made by these bar member scum. You have this District of Columbia court. All courts are District of Columbia courts. The judge works for the state, the prosecutor works for the state, the police or witness works for the state. The vast majority of the disputes that the pigs initiate on behalf of their employer are also adjudicated by their employer, where the plaintiff, the judge, the antagonist, the pig, and the only witness, also the pig, all represent the same party. And since no corpus delicti, mens rea or acts reus can be produced, doesn't technically qualify to be heard according to its own laws. The state, therefore, is indistinguishable from a criminal cartel. And it's all based on presumption. Whenever the Texas Business and Commerce Code or the Uniform Commercial Code, if you're somewhere besides Texas, creates a presumption with respect to a fact or provides that a fact is presumed, the trier of fact must find the existence of the fact unless and until evidence is introduced that supports a finding of its non-existence. It's all on presumption. It's all on presumption. Within 20 years, this country is going to rule the world. Kings and emperors will soon pass away, and the democracy of the United States will take their place. When the United States rules the world, the Catholic Church will rule the world. Nothing can stand against the Church. And that's Roman Catholic Archbishop James E. Quigley, Chicago Daily Tribune, May 5th, 1903. It's all coming from the Roman cult. All these bar members. And there's Congress, and there's these two Roman fasci. Let's get another picture. Roman Conquest, 24th September 2015. Actually, it happened in 1933 is when it actually happened. This text is kind of hard to read, so the next slide is going to have the text on this red text here. We'll start from the left and go around. And so on the left it says, Roman, a key of military staff carried in battle by all Roman commands, planted on all conquered nations. So they're pointing at this right here, this staff right here, and that's what that text says. Second one is devout Roman Catholic, honorary degree in Jesuit Scranton University. Well, that is this text right here pointing at Biden, a Satanist. Third one is Roman bundle of rods bound to a weapon, symbolizing subservient under the rule of a single man. That's this text right here, pointing at these Roman fasci right here. And the last one is devout Roman Catholic, trained by the Jesuits, installed the first Jesuit chaplain to the house. Well, yeah, why is that a surprise? That's this text right here, pointing at Boehner, or whatever his name was. And so, anyways, there's a picture without all of the clutter. There's the Roman military staff, and these are the true Roman fasci. This is all the Roman cult, is what it is. Pope claims you're not Christian if you own a gun. Yeah, he wants to have people defenseless so that when he comes and murders them, that they don't have any trouble, okay? There's Satan right there, actually. Yet still it was difficult to set bounds to ecclesiastical ingenuity. Yeah, that's the Roman cult, folks. For when they were driven out of all their former holes, they devised a new method of conveyance by which the lands were granted, not to themselves directly, but to nominal fiefs, to the use of the religious houses, thus distinguishing between the possession and the use, and receiving the actual profits, while the season of the land remained in the nominal fief, who was held by the courts of equity, then under the direction of the clergy. That's the Roman cult, folks. To be bound in conscience to account to assesticate use for the rents and emoluments of the estate. That's taxes, folks. And it is to these inventions that our practitioners are indebted for the introduction of uses and trusts, the foundation of modern conveyancing. And that's taken from Tomlin's Law Dictionary, 1835 edition, volume 2, under the definition of mort main. And here's where it's codified. 15 U.S.C. Section 44, corporation shall be deemed to include any company trust, so-called Massachusetts trust or association, incorporated or unincorporated, which is organized to carry on business for its own profit or that of its members, and has shares of capital or capital stock or certificates of interest. And then it goes through the same definition without shares of capital or capital stock or certificates of interest. And the second one would satisfy the Roman cult. The Sesticate Trust. DC Code for 31 Stat 1432, the legal estate to be the Sesticate use. This is in 1901. Absence of 7 years, 31 Stat 1230, they presume you're dead. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow me on Steam at Sovereignty International. Don't forget to like this video. On YouTube, don't forget to click the bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified when there's a new upload. On Steam it, don't forget to vote and make your comments. There's the front page of my channel. The subscribe button's already clicked or it'll be red. The bell needs to be clicked because the arrow's pointing at the bell and it'll look like it's vibrating once it's clicked. But individuals, when acting as representatives of a collective group, cannot be said to be exercising their personal rights and duties, nor be entitled to their purely personal privileges, where they assume the rights, duties, and privileges of the artificial entity or association of which they are agents or officers, and they are bound by its obligations. So this is how they assault you with your Roman cult Sesticate Trust, right there. And there's the New World slave flag. Check out my book, Trump, a True American Patriot or Not. The back, I didn't write that back part, but I think it's really well done. Says, for too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government at the cost of its citizens. Washington flourished, but the insiders refused to share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but allowed our jobs to leave and our factories to close. Not anymore. And that was actually Trump in his 2016 inaugural address. In Trump, a True American Patriot or Not, I reveal the depths of corruption, deceit, and manipulation infesting our political system for hundreds of years, regardless of political affiliation. Read the hard evidence that exposes how our elected officials have sold Americans into slavery. Understand the Founding Fathers' true intent when they formed our Republican form of government. Discover the influence of the satanic Roman cult in our politicians and political system. Does Donald Trump want to transfer power back to we the people? In Trump, you will see the great battle that is upon us. And that is so true. And I never wrote that, but it really hits the nail on the head. You can order my book from Amazon.com or from my website. It's $30 plus shipping. I prefer you order from my website. Amazon does not provide autographed books, and I'll send you an autographed book. If you want the book autographed, order from my website, but don't forget to let me know if you want something special in the autograph. Do you want to know the origins of the deep state? Who's behind it? Do you want to know why it's called the Trump administration? Do you want to know what an administration is? Do you want to know how Trump came to be president? Do you want to know who owns Congress? We already talked about that, actually. Do you want to know why they are called law enforcement officers? Do you want to know how you have become a slave? Do you want to know what the root cause of the War of Independence was? It's the same cause of what's going on right now. Do you want to know why every president goes to visit the Pope on their first international trip? And here, a picture with the pimp. Well, I meant the Pope. with Obama, you know, they're laughing and chuckling. You know, he looks like a little Satan is what he looks like. And then here he is with Trump, and he doesn't look too happy about that, I'll tell you. And Trump is really happy, though. I think he knows justice is coming. In reality, they're not after me, they're after you. I'm just in the way. Well, he isn't in the way anymore. Civil law, Roman civil law are convertible phrases meaning the same system of jurisprudence, that rule of action which every particular nation, commonwealth, or city has established peculiarly for itself, more properly called municipal law, to distinguish it from the law of nature and international law. So, Roman law, Roman civil law, and civil law are convertible phrases, and municipal law. And there's a maxim of Roman law that says, let he who will be deceived, okay? So they lie, they cheat, they steal, and everything they do. This is all coming from Roman law. This is Satanism. Texas rules of civil procedure. Civil procedure is Roman law. Federal rules of civil procedure, it's meant to be deceptive. That's exactly what it's all about. It's about deceiving you. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime where the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist in the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. That's the current so-called 13th Amendment. So they just hold a show trial and railroad you and for one of their so-called crimes. He, the prisoner, has as a consequence of his crime not only forfeited his liberty, but all his personal rights except those which the law and its humanity affords him. He is for the time being a slave of the state. That's exactly what it's all about. It's about slavery, folks. And at common law, they should get their necks stretched. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Israel, and maketh merchandise of him, or selleth him, then that thief shall die. Thou shalt put evil away from among you. These people are Satanists. Anyways, so this is all about bar members, really, but it's about the post office, too. Because we're going to have a little video here at the end on how I administrated, or I went in and talked to some postal clerks, and the result of that, and you'll get to see it. So check out my other videos: Bankster Thieves playlist, Roman Cult playlist, Bankrupt Corporate So-Called Governments, Bar Members 1 through 7. Actually, it's 1 through 8. Do-it-yourself, how not to volunteer for the selective service in the draft. Martial laws here. Do-it-yourself, no income tax, free mail. This is actually number 2. Kangaroo Courts 1 through 19. Canada Border Pigs playlist. Bar Members and their Satanic Connections playlist. A penitentiary has meant a penitent, an ordainer of penances, a place for penitents. So you're sold into slavery so you can go and repent. This is all tied to the Roman cult, folks. Anderson's Law Dictionary. Penance is a punishment imposed for a crime by the ecclesiastical laws. Why do you think people were trying to get out of Europe by the millions? Because this is the kind of crap that was going on over there. It's an acknowledgement of the offense. Penance may be changed into a sum of money to applied for pious uses, called commuting. That's what Trump did when he commuted Roger Stone's sentence. He paid him off. And that's taken from Book 3 and 4, the Institutes and the Laws of England. That's Coke in the 1500s. This is nothing new. Under international law of warfare, all parties to a cause must appear by non-degree. They are making war on you. It's about time you wake up. And these bought and paid for whores masquerading as judges, they don't have any intention of being neutral or unbiased. They're going to sit there and play stupid. And if you don't know some code or rule, they'll sell you into slavery. That's what it's all about. They're making commissions on that. A mixed war is one made on one side by public authority and the other by mere private persons. It's all about warfare. Pecuniary cause. Such a cause, or such as arise either from the withholding of ecclesiastical dues, or the doing or neglecting of some act relating to the church, whereby some damage accrues to the plaintiff towards obtaining satisfaction, to which for which he is permitted to institute a suit in the spiritual court. Such, for instance, are the subtracting or withholding of tithes from the parson or vicar, the non-payment of ecclesiastical dues to the clergy, as pensions, mortuaries, compositions, and the like. And that's taken from Blackstone's Commentaries, Book 3, pages 89, 88, and 89, and Holthouse, A New Law Dictionary. And so, pecuniary cause. So the Roman cult is right here in Texas. The words penal and penalty in their strict and primary sense denote a punishment, whether corporal or pecuniary, imposed and enforced by the state for a crime or offense against its laws. The Roman cult owns the state. The noun penalty is defined forfeiture, to be forfeited for non-compliance with an agreement. The words forfeit and penalty are substantially synonymous. A penal action is one founded entirely on statute. Yeah, these are Roman cult statutes, and brought for the sole object of recovering a penalty or forfeiture, enforced as a punishment for a specific offense, while remedial action is one brought to obtain compensation or indemnity. These people are Satanists. A penal action is an action on a penal statute, an action for recovery of penalty given by statute, where an action is founded entirely upon a statute. The only objective is to recover a penalty or forfeiture. Such action is a penal action. A penal action is a civil suit brought for recovery of a statutory forfeiture when inflicted as punishment for an offense against the public. Such actions against the Roman cult is what that is. The public is the Roman cult. They own the state of Texas. They own every other state too. Such actions are civil actions, on the one hand closely related to criminal prosecutions, on the other for two actions for private injuries in which a party aggrieved may by statute recover punitive damages. A sunset. In its origin, an action tort, a sunset was transformed into an action of contract, becoming afterwards a remedy where there is neither tort nor contract, based at first only on an express promise. It was afterwards supported upon an implied promise or even a fictitious promise. Yeah, they just make it up as they go along. That's what these Roman cult Satanists do. Introduced as a special manifestation of the action in the case, it soon acquired the dignity of a distinct form of action, which superseded debt, became concurrent with account. These are all commercial terms. This is all Roman cult. That's all they do is lie and steal. With case upon a bailment, a warranty, and bills of exchange, competed with equity in the case of essentially equitable quasi-contracts. That's how these Roman cult Satanists lay awake at night with this stuff. Growing out of the principle of unjust enrichment. Yeah, right. Surely it'd be hard to find a better illustration of the flexibility and power of self-development of the common law. The History of a Sunset in Section 3, Essays on Anglo-American Legal History, Black's Law Dictionary, 8th edition. Both in Roman and English law, there are certain obligations which were not in truth contractual. That's why they're Satanists. They lie. But which the law treats as if they were. They are contractual in law, but not in fact, being the subject matter of a fictitious extension of the sphere of contract to cover obligations which do not in reality fall within it. They're thieves. It is well settled rule of law that he who seeks the benefit of contract also assumes the burdens. Voluntary acceptance of benefit or transaction, going to jail is a benefit, is equivalent to consent of all obligations arising from it, so far as facts are known or ought to be known, to person accepting it. A quasi-contractual action presupposes acceptance and retention of a benefit by one party with full appreciation of the facts under circumstances making it inequitable for him to retain the benefit without payment of its reasonable value. These people are Satanists. Quasi-contracts are based solely upon the legal fiction of law. It's impossible without their Roman cult sesticate trust. Governments. This is the Clearfield doctrine that we talked about earlier. Governments descend to the level of mere private corporation and take on the characteristics of mere private citizen where private corporate commercial paper and securities is concerned. For purposes of suits, such corporations and individuals are regarded as entities entirely separate from government. So when you use their commercial paper, you just walked away from any sovereignty you had, or immunity, or anything. Statutes have been passed extending the courts of admiralty and vice-admiralty far beyond their ancient limits for depriving us of the accustomed and inestimable privilege of trial by jury in cases affecting both life and property, to supersede the course of common law and instead thereof to publish and order the use and exercise of the law martial. It's the same thing that went on in the War of Independence. This is taken from the causes and necessities for taking up arms in 1775. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Ye are of their father the devil, and the lusts of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he's a liar and the father of it. Bar members are liars, thieves, and murderers. Bar members know exactly what they're doing. This is Albert Pike in Morals and Dogma, page 332. Lucifer, the light bearer, strange and mysterious name given to the spirits of darkness. Lucifer, the son of the morning. Is it he who bears the light with all its splendors and tolerable blinds people's sensual or selfish souls? Doubt it not. So, Albert Pike, who was a Confederate general, he was also a Grand Master of the Freemasons. He's saying that the Masons are Satanists. They're devil worshippers. If they see that you send them mail that has government employee postage rates on it, what do you think they can do? They can presume you're one of the slaves. Everything's about presumption. They intend to perjure their oaths, and you're required to build a case against them. Following is a video where I took some 3-cent mail to the postal clerk. Domestic letters transmitted to the mails of the United States not exceeding 1/2 ounce in weight shall be uniform at 3 cents for each 1/2 ounce or fraction thereof of additional weight, and there shall not be charged additional rate. There shall be charged additional rate of 3 cents to be in all cases prepaid by postage stamps plainly affixed to the letter, which is what I did. And now that's these ones here, right here. And then these ones, you went and marked on, and these are all marked private property, okay? And so they're my property until they get delivered, and yet you're marking your postage due stamps on there. And these stamps here, the other stamps you had on there, I took off, no problem. But that stamp is really difficult to get off, and you're damaging my mail by putting that stuff on there. And under section 32, well, that's registered letters. 34, for second class postage, it says, and that's these green cards, because if you, what I do is I put,
here's one, if you don't have to pop it off there.
well, no, I put a 2-cent stamp on these. See, right there. I put a 2-cent stamp on them, and if you could take that back down, I'd appreciate it. So that I don't expect you to pay to send that card back to me. I brought some here. If you want to check them all, you're welcome to check them all.
How you doing?
And I brought some in case I missed one or something.
One road you need to.
But I put 2-cent stamps on those things so that I'm paying for postage to send that green card back to me. Now, and that's what's required by Section 34 of the Act. And again, it's a felony for you guys to overcharge the postage. What happened is everything subsequent to this act has been done by postal regulations. Postal regulations only apply to government employees and corporations. And I am neither. And I make it really plain right here with the return address and all the rest of it. And so if you're going to charge me extra, overcharge me for postage, I want it recorded so that I can make sure and make up a nice affidavit and send it to the U.S. Attorney about the felonies you guys are committing.
We're doing a little investigation. our hazmat collection.
That's a postal regulation.
Okay.
So they say at the bottom, the name on it. There you go. There you go. Yep. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you? I need the form 3533.
3533. What are we doing? What is it? What form is that?
It's for like a refund.
Now, it doesn't say, this act doesn't say anything about certified mail. It does talk about registered mail, and it says for registered mail that says the registration fee not exceeding 20 cents. So I might bring some registered mail down here, and it will have 20 cents additional postage.
Okay.
But I expect those to be processed as well. And it also talks about franking, which means that I can send letters to Congress and to the president and those kinds of people without postage. I think I had that highlighted. Maybe I didn't.
Okay. This one in particular, I don't know about the rest of
Yep.
it. This one in particular exceeds the weight of first class mail.
Well, that's your regulations. This doesn't say that.
One roll? Yes, sir.
That's your regulations. Again,
Well,
18 USC 242. It's a felony to violate somebody's rights under color of law. And your regulations are color of law to anybody that's not a government employee and not a corporation.
$55. All right.
Give me just a moment. I want to go back. You right back?
Take a cut out of the
Yeah, I
contract.
can't do it again. Saw that shiny thing at the bottom.
Try again.
Okay.
Okay. Flip it at the bottom. Yeah, we go. That's fine. Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you? I don't know, I didn't fill out 2 and 3 on here, but I'm wanting to get a signature and return receipt. So I think I did it right, and then it's gonna be for that one. See if I can find a sticky note.
But it's been on the road since
Okay.
April.
I only have limited information that I can share with you right at this time. Okay. Our definition of anonymous mail is anything that contains stamps over 13 ounces.
It's got a return address.
It still, if it has stamps on it for postage only.
That's a regulation.
Okay.
This is the information that we are trained with and that we are given. We are following our regulations.
Well,
Okay. If it has stamps, we're supposed to, because of prior instances, anonymous mail bears only postage stamps, weighs more than 13 ounces, and was not accepted at the retail counter. You bring in these in, I can take
Hello, how are you?
them, no problem. If they're dropped in an outgoing drop box,
I
but
don't have a problem bringing them in, but then I'm going to be telling you that that you're overcharging for the mail, which is
And this
multiple
is exactly
felonies in front of
why-
all sorts of witnesses.
we are going to do this right here.
Okay, good.
This cancels out any anonymous mail,
Okay,
okay? But you have to get the clerk to stamp this and send it on.
okay.
That's where there's been the leakage.
I don't have a problem doing that, but you know,
Yes.
it's
Carriers are not supposed to pick up packages, mail that contains only stamps that's over 13 ounces. The customer is supposed to bring it into the retail counter. So we are going to stamp all these and we're going to send them on their way.
Take 2 to 5.
Well, I'm glad, quite frankly, I was hoping that I wouldn't be able to, file some felony charges against, people here, because I kind of like the people around here.
Well,
And-
it's just, everybody has to follow their rules and take it, it's a miscommunication. Excuse me.
Are they gonna have a problem with this? And that thing's hard to get off of there. I don't know who put that on there, but that thing's hard to get off.
See, if you don't bring it in to get the stamps canceled out, the plant, people at the processing plant, and even on the other end, will send it back to you.
I'll bring them in. I don't have a problem bringing them in. My thought was that you didn't want me in here telling everybody in here about how you're overcharging for the mail.
No, that's not the issue. The issue is the fact that we have to follow our protocol.
Going up too, aren't they?
That's fine. See, those things are hard to get off of there. That's the only one that's on there.
That's a good thing. But just bear in mind that you could still have some that come back to you that you've already sent out. Just bring them in here. We'll take care of it.
I will. I appreciate your help. And that could have been,
I just had
maybe
to
that's
find
my
some
mistake.
documentation for you to see.
I
that
should
this
have brought
is
them
what
in. I should have
we're
brought them
hoping
in.
to do.
Not a problem. I'll bring them in. See, look at that. It's peeling everything off of there.
Well, it's just peeling that one stamp, and as long as I have the stamps on there, we're good.
Yeah, that's fine. And then the address. The name and the address. Anyways, I don't know. Those are just bad stickers to use. The other ones you guys put on there, no problem. They came off easy.
These are old stickers
Yeah, and that makes them
that
so that the glue is probably old and
that they used years ago. And they're still used, but
anyways.
we are,
Okay, I'll bring them in from now on.
yes, and that's the thing. Whether it's a package, anything over 13 ounces is supposed to be brought across the retail counter.
Okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind for stuff
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to put in the box, in the bin.
Yes.
No problem.
So
I can do that.
we're going to send this on. Stamps are canceled. They're on their way.
Okay, well, I got a few more in my car.
Okay.
And do you want this for reference?
Thank you very much.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. Okay, thank you. You too.
All right, sir.
Good.
Can you get some stamps?
20, about 100.
Do you have sheets?
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna have 3 sheets.
3 sheets.
Most of those.
You a fan?
No. I wish I were, but I'm not.
$33.
Take this one for me or drop it?
That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Bottom, and don't have to mention my name.
Keith, I appreciate you. Have a good day.
Now let's do a random. See, there's the 2-cent stamp. That's just a random one that I poked out. If you put some tape on that, that's good. I try to put 2-cent stamps on all of those. And you're welcome to check them. And if I miss one, I'll be glad to put a 2-cent stamp on it. The other side.
I need to do certified, I need to fill out something over there.
These are 6 to mail back to you.
I just need to make sure we get it.
These ones are less than, so I could probably just drop them in the blue box, but.
That's 15.3.
Oh, it's over, okay. They're less than, yeah, they're less than the other ones. Yeah, these are, well, they're just $1, so 6 cents divided by, still, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it includes, supposed to include all your tape and
Right.
stuff as well. You're gonna have to.
And no need to do that is just today.
Right.
So 13 ounces.
13
Comes
ounces
in
is the
here.
magic number.
There you go, I'll bring it in here. All right, thank you for your help.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You have a great day too.
Thank you.